I'm Holt McCallany, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Face facts, Real Fans, RealTalk.com. The orthodontist Trip Young and intern Tom. For the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro Mark the Stats Man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. Real Fans, RealTalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers.
Did Jeremy Lin hurt?
We'll log onto the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest, I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives, even tell a neighbor, tell him Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter, tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified cosign, you know what I'm about, son. Real Fans, RealTalk.com, I'm out, what? Real Fans, Real Talk, Real Fans, Real Talk, Real Fans, RealTalk.com, Real Fans, RealTalk.com, Real Fans, Real Talk, Real Fans, Real Talk, Real Fans, RealTalk.com, Real Fans, RealTalk.com.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another live episode of the Beta Award-winning sports news and talk television show, Real Fans, Real Talk. Of course, I'm Trip Young, and usually I don't wear my hat backwards because I feel pride when I represent the team that's on the other side of this hat. But today, since I lost shot for shot, I'm not proud. I'm not proud at all that I have to wear this hat. I'm gonna introduce my co-host first before I turn it around, because I know people at home is just going through some things right now. But of course, to my right, Statman Mark the Statman Skevich. What's going on?
Hello, everyone. Great to be back for another edition of Real Fans, Real Talk, another live edition of the award-winning talk show. And we're going to get into why Trip Young is not proud of that hat in a little bit. But before we do that, let me introduce our other co-host, the lovely Rose Claire.
Hey. Yeah, oh, there I am. I keep seeing the camera over there. Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I was just going to actually say, Statman, you just kind of ruined it for me, because I was going to ask why the hat was backwards myself and how fair that is, since I always have to put on this teeny tiny little Yankees jersey, which clearly says Yankees all over it. And that just looks like a man swinging a bat over there. I can't.
No,
I can't see anything
he's
wrong with
definitely going to have to turn it around.
Yeah,
the way it works is, if you lose shot for shot, which is a segment we'll have a little later on the program where we ask a series of questions to contestants, the loser has to wear team apparel of a team that they hate. And as a diehard Yankee fan myself, I hate seeing a fellow Yankee fan have to wear a Boston Bum Sox hat, but unfortunately it has to be done. It's time for you to turn that around. I know you don't want to show off that B over there. I know we say that stands for Brooklyn, and it could also stand for the Bronx since we air on Bronx Net Television over here. But
can we call it a show?
That's the Red Sox.
We'll move along to the sports topics, and switching over to basketball. We're going to get into baseball a little later on, but free agent frenzy is upon us. A lot of signings going on, a lot of trades going on in the NBA, making the season just ended, but next season is looking very bright for a lot of teams out there. Dwight Howard, of course, that drama is done. He's going to sign with the Rockets. We talked about that for the past few months. I felt that he was a good fit with the Rockets. The state taxes means he'll make more money than any other team but re-signing for the Lakers. A lot of people feel that he'll be a good fit over there, playing with James Harden, another superstar, and then, of course, Jeremy Lin. I personally also think the one thing is, how is that going to work out? Because James Harden and Jeremy Lin already have some difficulty playing with each other. They seem to be playing better when only one of them is on the court. Now you add Dwight Howard, who wants the ball as well, sharing the ball around there, and it's going to be interesting to see how that meshes, because obviously he had some difficulties with the Lakers since that was Kobe's show. But how do you think that's going to pan out for the Rockets and Dwight Howard?
The good thing about that situation is that James Harden, Chandler Parsons are both great three-point shooters. Jeremy Lin can also knock down the three. And I think we're going to date back to Dwight Howard's Orlando days, where he had all of those, shooters around him, but, much better versions of shooters around him, because now he actually has a second star for, he did have Kobe, but, Now it's his team. He's going to have those shooters around him. So I think that it'll work out with all the double teams that he's going to get in the paint. These guys are going to be wide open a lot of the time, and it's going to be three-pointers raining every night.
That also depends whether they're going to be playing unselfish and try to run the offense through him, whether James Harden's going to want to control the tempo himself like he did last season. But what do you think of the Houston Rockets situation, Rose?
Well, Statman, you said that the drama's over. I'm like wondering, is the drama just beginning, actually? I mean, this is going to be Dwight Howard.
Over for the offseason, excuse me.
Season, right. This is his third team in 3 seasons, And actually, he was asked if it were Phil Jackson that he was playing for the Lakers, would he be so much, would he definitely stay? And of course he says yes. But it's easy to say that when you haven't actually played for him. And I mean, Phil Jackson just demands that kind of respect. I mean, if I had to do any kind of job for Phil Jackson, whether I hated the job, if I was like a trash picker, I'd do it for Phil Jackson, So anybody can say that. That's the easy thing. So we really have to see how this plays out. On paper, it does look good. They got shooter Francisco Garcia, and off the bench, they're going to have Omri Caspi if they need him. So, aside from James Harden, he will have help around him. But as you said, Jeremy Lin and James Harden don't really see eye to eye. And Jeremy Lin actually isn't quite set in stone. And Omer Isaac may leave as well, I believe. So there's a lot of questions with the Houston Rockets still. And it does look good on paper. But again, everything, the Lakers looked so good on paper last year that who knows what's going to happen. We just,
But you know what?
With Dwight Howard, I think he's a little bit of drama mama. So
the difference, though, with the Rockets and the Lakers is that one major factor that contributed, what I think to last year's lack of chemistry is Kobe Bryant's ego. Right. And, these guys, they don't have that Kobe ego. So I think that
you don't think Dwight has an ego?
No,
3 coaches in 3 years?
Not like Kobe. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. So I think that they'll mesh well together a lot faster. Now, they do have the issues with Omar Asik because he now wants to be traded. They don't know what's going to go on with Jeremy Lin. I thought they should have went after Josh Smith. They could have, packaged Asik and Lin together, did something to get Josh Smith, which I thought would have like etched them in stone in the Western Conference. But that's not the case. Of course, Josh Smith winds up going to the D, Motown, and the Rockets. They still have they have a big 2.5. I guess, do we count Jeremy Lin as a half? I don't know if he's.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when the game where Harden was out, Jeremy Lin scored, I think, 37 or 38 points. So it's a matter he could be that guy. He has some issues when there's pressure on him, as we saw also with the Knicks. If they were a double team, they could force turnovers from him. But he can score at will if he's that guy. But James Harden's obviously that guy for the Rockets, and now you're adding someone else. And I agree with you, it's a whole different level than Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's a very competitive nature, wants to be better than Jordan. He's in a whole different level. Dwight Howard is more of a crybaby, not getting what he wants as opposed to not necessarily being unselfish. And James Harden was used to playing the 6-man role over in OKC, and I think Kevin McHale could get something together with where he can make that work. It's a very good possibility. I did make the joke on the Real Fans Real Talk group page shortly after the announcement of him going to the Rockets that this just in, Dwight Howard unhappy with Houston, got Kevin McHale fired, and demands a trade to the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, we throw our humor out there on the internet.
When I read that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what?" And then I looked it up.
Well, because usually I'm serious in making official announcements on Real Fans Real Talk, but in this game, I do throw my jokes out there. But sometimes when you're reading things, you don't know whether it's a joke or sarcasm. But
it's how
white, so it's believable.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing.
This is how rumors get started, and people think people are dead that aren't dead, because one person will say something, then people like me will believe it. And
and then it just goes on.
Not good.
Now, again, I mentioned Josh Smith, which I know they have some good pieces in Detroit. Greg Monroe, he's there.
Brandon
Knight is there. I don't know if he's bounced back yet from that monstrous DeAndre Jordan dunk from last season. But hopefully
he might still be traumatized.
Yeah,
I think
he had a bad
he's
year
got some therapy probably in the offseason.
Irving crossed him and made him fall in the All-Star game, and then he gets dunked on like that by DeAndre Jordan. So hopefully he's been able to bounce back. What do you think? Can they creep into an 8th seed?
I think they could get most likely an 8th or a 7th seed. Actually, I think the Celtics are going to fall off. There goes one of the teams there, and I think with that town, Josh Smith was. I think the Hawks will fall off too unless they make some moves.
They'll still make playoffs. So I don't know if they'll drop. They still have.
I think Josh Smith was one of the main reason why they made the playoffs last year. And without him, unless they're making some other moves in the offseason, I don't see them making the playoffs without him. So, I mean, that's how I feel. So I do think that they end up bringing him to the 7th or an 8th seed.
What do you think, Rose?
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe even 7th I could see. And as far as the Hawks go, I think that they made some good draft choices. So even Josh Smith, he wasn't completely happy. And we haven't talked about the Pistons yet, but I think that maybe he'll be even more productive where he's actually happy, assuming he will be happy there. But as far as the Hawks go, they have they're going to build a whole nother dynamic with their new picks, and I think that they could actually be a bit of a contender. I agree.
Now, another move that the Pistons made, they bring on Rasheed Wallace as an assistant coach. So, he helped them to win that championship. They beat the Lakers that year, and now he will be an assistant coach out in Detroit. I like the move. I like Rasheed Wallace. I think that, he'll do a good job kind of molding Greg Monroe. I think, he's somebody that he was one of the better power forwards during his time, and I think that he'll do a good job in that capacity. The
Knicks actually offered him a position too, but he wanted to go back home to Detroit. I mean, he had his the highlights of his career there, the better days and family there and everything. So, he ended up going with Detroit, and I don't blame him. He only played for the Knicks for 1 year. He was kind of a fan favorite for Knicks fans.
He was loved by Knicks fans. So. But, he's back home again, Motown. And the other big free agent signing was Andre Iguodala, who actually joined the Golden State Warriors. I love it. I love the dynamic that he's going to bring to Golden State. With Steph Curry, and then they got all those young shooters around, Klay Thompson, and he's one of the, Iguodala's one of the best defenders, perimeter defenders that we have. David Lee coming back, if they can get at least 60 games out of Andrew Bogut this season, I think they'll be in really good shape in the Western Conference. I think they could finish 4th in the West if Andrew Bogut can stay healthy. But what do you think, Rose?
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that as well. I don't know though. To be honest, I felt that the best. Can I move to another team that I felt was a winner, or do you want me to stay on that?
Well, go ahead. You can transition.
The only two, I wasn't crazy about a lot of the moves this year. So the only two that I was really very happy about was, I thought that the Lakers actually were just winners in the fact that they lost Dwight Howard, because I felt that it was one of those things where they just really, really wanted to, hold on to something. It's like when you have like a precious gem or something that you want to hold on to it so bad, but you're maybe like a square and you're trying to fit this into like, it's a circle that you're trying to fit into a square, if that makes any sense. It was not a good fit for them, but they could not let go of it. So I think it was good that he kind of got ripped out of their hands because they were not willing to do that. So I thought that they were actually a winner from that. And I think actually all the winning was in LA, because the Clippers as well, I felt, were the other team. They were able to keep Chris Paul, which was really huge considering, what the whole thing with Vinny Del Negro and the organization trying to pin it on him. And they got some really good, they got some good things out of that as well. So I don't know. Those were kind of my two.
The Lakers, actually, maybe they did win. They did manage to get another big man, although he is an injury-prone big man, much like Andrew Bynum was. They bring Chris Kaman onto the roster. So they do have another 7-foot out there with Pop Powell. So if he can actually stay healthy, Kaman is a really good center. But last season with the Mavericks, he wasn't really able to stay healthy. So I don't know what they're going to get out of Kaman this season. But, he's a guy who he doesn't have, an ego that's going to combat with Kobe. And we know that Kobe does do well when he has those, two big men. They don't, there's not going to be any back talk, all of that. is going to be kind of to a minimum. So, it might actually help them. I know they're also talking about amnestying Ron Artest. Whether or not, that actually goes down, we'll let you guys know. If you guys check us out on the web, we'll definitely post that up. That's realfansrealtalk.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/realfansrealtalk. Like the fan page, and we'll give you guys the updates as they come in, or check us out in the group on Facebook, because we're always tossing around different sports topics, and we're usually, pretty quick to make the announcement when new signings or anything new is going on in sports. So definitely check us out.
There's definitely a large group over there, a large team of people who are posting sports news on the group page. So just search Real Fans Real Talk on your Facebook page. The fan page, once again, as you see on the screen, facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. But speaking of the Mavericks, the losing Cayman, they're looking to get.
They lost everybody.
Yeah, they're looking to get Andrew Bynum. They're also in the bidding with the Cleveland Cavaliers for that one. The Lakers.
They actually made an official offer to Bynum, 2 years, $24 million. That's a lot of money. What do you think, Statman? Should Bynum take it and go to the Cavs?
Well, I mean, the Cavs got a lot of young talent. You have Kyrie Irving. They got another, draft pick this year. I would see a better fit with the Mavericks and see what they offer. I think he's actually still worth that money. I mean, we had a season where he didn't play much, and we, pretty much didn't play at all.
And not at all, and they spent a lot of money for that.
Sucks to be the Sixers.
Everyone kind of lost out when you think about it. The Lakers ended up getting, getting Dwight Howard, which didn't pan out for them. It was probably been better if he was injured the whole season.
Iguodala left the Nuggets, and Bynum didn't play the whole last season, and now he's leaving. So yeah, it was even.
Everybody loses.
Yeah, everything was even. It was a fair loss across the board.
It was a 1 year thing, and then we go back to everyone.
Exactly.
Exactly. But I do think the Mavericks will probably be a better fit for him. So, and once again, that state tax comes into effect here. So even if he gets slightly less of an offer from the Cavs, he ends up with more money in his pocket as well with playing for the Mavericks. So I see if the Mavericks go after him, I see him playing for the Mavericks, though.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think that he might do better playing in Cleveland with those guys. Kyrie Irving is a great point guard. I mean, obviously this all depends on health, but I think that the Cavs can actually do well with an Andrew Bynum. They just they brought over Jared Jack, as a backup point guard to kind of take some of that pressure off of Kyrie Irving. Maybe that'll help him stay healthy. They bring over Earl Clark. We saw what he did with the Lakers last season. He was probably one of their better players last season. They got the number 1 pick in the draft, although we kind of agreed, we were a little shocked at the pick. But maybe they saw something that we aren't seeing just yet. If that pans out, the East, the bottom of that East is really shaky. Anybody can get in, and anybody can get bumped out. And like you already said, the Celtics,
I think the Cavs with Bynum might put him into playoff contention, but the reason why I say I think he'll go with the Mavericks is because, one, the state tax thing that I mentioned. Number 2, the ownership of Mark Cuban, where I think that it won't stop there. Once he gets there, they'll surround him. Most of the big names are taken, pretty much all taken already, but I think there's more moves to be made after Bynum is there, and more players will be willing to go there after Bynum is there as well. So.
Yeah. I agree with you guys, and with what you just said, actually, I think that the Mavericks would be a good, the Cavs, sorry, I just went back and forth. The Cavs would be a better fit, I actually do think, with Kyrie Irving, but I think that he would be better off for himself thinking that he'll go to the Mavericks. But I don't really like to spend a lot of time thinking about where he'd be better off, because I don't think either of them should take him. We talked about this on a shot-for-shot question already, like spending all this money on somebody who won't even practice. He's a 7-footer with bad knees and didn't play a lick in Philadelphia last year.
You know what it is?
Not 1 second.
His strength is in his hair.
Yeah.
Like Samson,
okay,
Bible Samson Delilah.
And he's been practicing his three-point shot.
And he's been practicing his
But we
three-point
can't
shot.
even see
So
that three-point shot. He won't practice anything
It's
for anybody.
Well,
It's a that once again is the sarcasm there. He's not actually practicing his three-point shot.
I
It was
gotcha.
just
Okay.
it was just the Lakers drama when he
That's
took
why,
the threes.
it's like we're talking about where is he going to go, like who's going to spend more money on him and all that. But it's like, why is anybody spending any? I wouldn't
he's
take him if I were
because-
either. Because of his strength and power when
there's
he's
not
actually.
that many great centers in the league.
Right.
And, just a year ago, we were talking about Andrew Bynum being the
was the
second
second
best
best,
center
behind Dwight
in the
Howard.
league. You don't come across too many 7-footers that can do what he does on both ends of the ball. He's a great rebounder. He can score. He does command a double team. So he's definitely, and he's young. You know what I mean? He's with 20,
You take
25
chances from people bouncing back after a bad year or sometimes several bad years, especially after an injury. Like you see it happen even with Grant Hill, who comes back at an older age from a back injury and then eventually comes back and goes to a high level of play.
Exactly.
So you take those chances, and maybe the Knicks saw that with Bargnani too. The Knicks trade that happened. Bargnani missed a lot of games the past 2 years, hasn't been himself. They see players bounce back. They probably did a extensive physical on him and saw that maybe he could get back to a better playing shape, and that I like to pick up. I know that you have a 7-footer that doesn't play good defense and doesn't rebound, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a center for 7-footer. But
Yeah.
He's
And nobody
definitely-
wants to be like the team that missed out on him. You have this great player, but at the
Especially
same time,
for
it's
what they gave up, they didn't give up.
Yeah.
I just
much.
can't see spending that much money on him when you just don't know. It's like it's like out the window for the Sixers. It just seems tough.
Listen,
but-
we're gonna see, but one thing we do know that is if Andrew Bynum can stay healthy, he can be a huge force. And whether he goes to Dallas, Cleveland, or wherever, as long as he's healthy, he's gonna be a major factor.
If he's healthy, that's the
if he's
biggest
healthy.
thing.
We
But he
don't
won't
know.
even
Overall,
why won't he practice for anybody? I just don't understand.
overall, so far, I know you mentioned a couple of them, Rose, but best pickups, trades, or whatever the case may be so far this offseason in the NBA. I'm actually still going with the Brooklyn Nets on this one. I think I know you disagree, but I know Kevin Garnett. As far as talking one season at a time, I think that the Nets are in championship contention with the pickup of Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. And I mean, they got rid of Wallace's contract in the deal. They didn't really give up too much for them. They gave up draft picks, but they're not going to be high draft picks because they're not going to be in the lottery. They're going to be in the playoffs, even after those two retire. And down the road, D. Will is still young. Lopez is still relatively young. You're really gonna. They're going to be a playoff team. So, and this puts them in contention for a championship. That's my number one overall. I think just the small pickup of Iguodala kind of puts the Warriors over the top there for championship contention as well. They showed what they could do last year, and
I think that bumps them up to top 3 in the West. It's just that pickup alone.
Yeah.
They had got Dwight. That would have just been crazy because I would say, book it. NBA Finals.
what would you say is the biggest so far?
I would still go with the Nets. I just think, them being able to pull that off, you're bringing over 2 NBA champions, a former MVP, and Kevin Garnett. You bring 6th man of the year, Jason Terry, and just from 1 through 5, they have 5 solid starters. You have a top 3-point guard in Darren Williams. You have Brook Lopez, who was a first-time All-Star last year, and he actually stayed healthy. He's getting better, and then you bring in the veteran leadership of Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, who can set the tone on the defensive end, and you have the young
And play
Mason,
unselfishly because they're
and play
used to
unselfishly.
playing, with other superstars on the
And
team,
then you
having the
have
big 4
Mason
before.
Plumlee, who they draft, another 7-footer. I watched him in the summer league, the other day, and I think he's going to be a star in this league, especially now that he's going to have the opportunity to learn from one of the greatest, big men that we've seen in our time, in Kevin Garnett. Speaking of that summer league game, Jason Kidd And his first shot out, head coaching, he gets teed up. He runs past the half court line.
Maybe he didn't understand the rules. He didn't understand the rules. He's young.
He thought he was playing still, so he can do that.
He was trying to get the ball past him.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I still got it, guys. But I
just retired last year.
I saw the footage of it, and it seemed like he was trying to mouth off to the ref after the fact.
Oh yeah, he definitely.
I think that what happened was he was embarrassed that he did such a stupid faux pas that he was like, oh no, it was because I was actually mouthing off to the ref. He was trying to get some street cred for his first technical. So I think that's what happened. But
yeah, but I still go with the Nets. Now the Knicks, who I said they dropped down to the B team after that trade, but they are looking to acquire Rondo and Chauncey Billups. I guess they weren't too happy with Raymond Felton last season, and I think if they can manage to bring over Rondo, that's going to be a huge move for the Knicks. That could put them over the top, get them, or at least get them past the Pacers this year if they play the Pacers. But,
at least you're saying, okay, all right.
You know what I mean? They're not gonna beat the Heat, but I'm just gonna say that at least they should be able to get past the Pacers with that lineup. But guys on the Knicks, they just kind of fold.
I think Rondo comes to the Knicks and stays healthy. Obviously, he's gonna miss the first half of the season. I think the Knicks will have the best record in the league if Rondo comes to the Knicks.
Okay. Statman says it. Are you booking that?
That's good.
I'm booking that.
I agree. I think that's really good that you say that because I feel that I've been very Debbie Downer about the Nets. And hearing you two talk about it, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't sound all that bad now. I'm kind of glad.
As of right now, on paper, they have the best starting five in the league.
With poopy colored glasses. So you guys are making me feel better about it actually. But I think it's good that you should be that optimistic about the Knicks because if they could get Rajon Rondo, that would be great for them. We saw how great they were when Jason Kidd was not airballing it. He went from amazing to the opposite of amazing. But so Rajon Rondo would be really good for them. I do agree with you for that.
Definitely would.
I don't know about where you're going with it. But.
It definitely would. I don't know about that. Yeah, best in the league. But one more move, the Nuggets managed to bring over shooting guard Randy Foye. They got him in a sign and trade deal, which sent Iguodala over to Golden State. So they got somebody. Well, it's not anybody big, but they did get Randy Foye, who's a decent guard. Now we also had Wimbledon, the finals. We had a record set with the Bryan twins, who swept through all four major tournaments and won the gold at the Olympics in doubles. So, that was amazing. And then we had a 77-year drought be snapped by Andy Murray, who wins Wimbledon. He does it for the home team. I guess after the Olympics, he finally got over his hump of being able to win at Wimbledon. And he beat my guy, No Joke, who I picked to win. Statman, I know you picked Murray.
Yep.
What did you think about that finals performance?
Well, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be in 3 straight sets. I mean,
he smoked him. He definitely smoked him.
I mean, Djokovic was hanging in there, making his little runs here and there. But the reason why I felt that Murray was going to do it is because of that home crowd. And last year when he lost, he said, "I'm getting closer, everyone." And then, he ends up winning. He ends up winning the Olympics, which was in London as well. So he ended up having that victory for Great Britain, and he had that behind him. So I guess it kind of took a little bit more pressure off of him this year as opposed to last year because he got that Olympic gold in front of the Great Britain crowd, and it motivated him even more with less pressure at the same time to do it this time. But I think Djokovic,
Exactly.
I didn't think it was going to be 4 3 straight
definitely
sets,
not
but.
in straight sets. I was shocked at Djokovic. Even when he went down in the second set, I said, well, Djokovic still has a chance to win because that's actually, how things happened. Was in the U.S. Open where Djokovic was down the first 2 sets and came back. But you know what?
Yeah, and we thought for sure that he was going to lose that. Well, I did anyway.
With Murray, I think 77%
of
the time he wins.
No. Wait,
Federer.
after Roger Federer lost, actually, I did pick Andy Murray over Djokovic. I didn't make it public So nobody can believe me, I know. But every time I say someone's going to win, then the opposite
Listen,
happens.
I love how Rose comes up with this stuff.
No, it's so true, though. I did know Anderson was going to win.
I picked Murray, but I didn't tell anybody. I didn't say anything to anyone.
The silent pick.
Exactly.
The silent, I told you so. I didn't say it out loud, but I told you so.
Everybody be quiet. What's this?
Yeah, exactly.
I told you so.
See?
That's what that was, in case you, the silent I told you
right.
so.
Well,
but yes, I did. I just want to say, I want to test you guys really quick. I want to ask you, when you say that he snapped a record, what was the record that he snapped?
The drought. He just
was
snapped
just
a
the
77-year drought.
Of what?
Of no wins
No
in
wins for a
Great
British
Britain.
player for Wimbledon.
No. Okay, that's what
What
I was
was it?
asking. It was a
Here we
British
go.
male for Wimbledon.
Oh,
because
British, okay.
That's what I just wanted to set this record
Oh, you want to
straight
get
for all
the
you
technicalities
men
of
there.
it.
She wants
A
to get brownie
British
points.
woman won in 1977, and her name, as I know very well, because I know.
Because you're
'Cause
looking
you're
at
in
it.
here.
Oh yes, her name, as I was saying, is Virginia Wade. She won in 1977 as a British female. So British male was this. So 1977, but 77 years from right now, the British, male won.
All right, now
And
can
do you
tell
know who the male was
Yes, I
77 years
did.
ago
Oh.
without looking at the paper?
No, I didn't write it down, actually.
I don't have it written down
I forget.
either.
Yeah. And what year was it?
Well, 77 years from right now is
Oh,
Don't
she
do-
has,
no,
to,
you
she,
can't do the
she
math
has to
yet.
do math now? You want to break out the
nah.
calculator?
64 from, wait, so 36, 1936.
Yes, it was 1936. What was his
There you
name,
go.
Rose?
Fred-
Go ahead.
Fred
Fred Perry.
Fred Flintstone? No, it wasn't him.
Fred Perry.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, Statman.
Well-
I did know it. I completely forgot, but thank
Yeah.
you guys.
No, that's
so-
good. You
so I just
definitely
want-
came. You came with
Yeah.
your stats on that one. You did. You definitely came
You
with
know
your
what?
stats on
I
that
just want to
one.
make sure, not for you guys, but because a lot of people out there we go to Wimbledon and we immediately think about the men out there, but we got to make a shout out to the women. And speaking of shout outs, I also want to shout out Marion Bartoli, who won the Women's Open. And I don't know if you guys heard about any of this, but actually there was a lot of bad Twitter about her, saying she was too ugly to deserve to win. And actually a BBC radio journalist was saying that, I wonder if her dad told her, look, you'll never be pretty, so you have to be scrappy, something along those lines. That's not a complete quote. But because of that, people were tweeting all things, so it forced the BBC people to apologize about that. And I just, personally, I feel that it's getting too far away from the actual sport. We never do that to men. Like, yes, there's always going to be like the Tom Bradys and, the pretty boys out there and stuff, but we never, ever do that. It's always about, it's supposed to be about the actual players, and about the actual game. And this woman was able to beat Lizicki, who actually was able to beat Serena Williams, and that's huge because nobody even knew any player names before Serena Williams. I had to memorize all these
You realize
foreign names
that I'm
after
gonna have
that.
to deal with that when
So
I go home. 'Cause I promise,
I know. I'm so
I promise,
sorry.
wifey, we were
Wifey
not gonna
boo,
bring that
if
back
you're
up.
out
I
there,
promise
yeah.
that. You
Just wanna do it.
if I sleep on the couch tonight, I want you to thank yourself for that, okay?
Wifey boo, we love you. You're still our number one, baby.
All right. Well, I'm sure she'll take that. You might not get invited to the barbecue after the U.S. Open.
With
but
Serena's ribs,
take
man.
that.
I gotta get an invite.
Wifey
to the
Boo can
barbecue.
cook. She can chef it up. She does get on the grill. You might want to get to one of our barbecues. But
Yeah, they are out. They are pretty epic.
exactly, and they are a knockout, and something else that was a knockout, or somebody that got knocked out this weekend was
Speaking of.
Anderson Silva. I don't even know if we can call him the Spider.
Yeah. Well,
any-
Anderson the
anymore.
Spider Silva got
Stepped on.
Squashed.
Yeah, he
no.
got squashed.
Chris Weidman came at him like a spider monkey.
Yeah,
Once he
and
caught him
it's,
off guard, he came at him like a spider monkey and just started pounding him for a few seconds. Ref stopped it. Knockout over. Silva
embarrassing.
way
It was
too
embarrassing.
cocky in that fight. Like hands down, not defending himself, taunting the whole time. It was just.
It's a joke.
Yeah, and I understand that Silva, rightfully so, feels like there's no competition out there, but that's when it happens. And now you just embarrassed yourself. If you went out there and you fought and put in your effort into it,
He would have destroyed him.
exactly, no questions. There's not a single person that would doubt that either.
Yeah.
So what was he doing? Like it's almost you have some
thought-
fans.
honestly,
Some fans believe
thought
that
it
he
was
threw the
fake.
fight.
Yeah.
Oh, just really quickly, it's funny that you say that because actually he was saying that he said after the fight, he was the champion for 7 years and he was just tired. And I thought that was a cop-out. But then when I thought about it, it's like, that's exactly what it seems like. He's taunting, saying, come on, hit me, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. And then he just lowered his arms and bam, he was out. Like, it almost seemed like he was like, okay, this is my exit. Goodbye. Like, I'm done. Like, maybe I'll be
even
I'll
after,
be like,
when
But just retire as the champion then.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Don't give somebody who's not capable of beating you the right to beat you.
Even though, I'm going to let it slide because he is from New York. He's from Long Island.
Oh,
I mentioned this on the radio show, which airs every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. on realfansrealtalk.com. He is from Long Island. I got some friends that went to high school with him. But, at the end of the day, you don't want to go out like that if you're Anderson Silva because you've done so many great things in the sport of MMA. You're one of the best to do it. You were pound for pound number one 3 weeks before the fight, but now, after that you get knocked out like that in the second round of a 5-round fight, the way you get knocked out. And I know you guys just saw the clip, but you guys got to hear this clip. So I want you guys, we're gonna run the clip back one more time so you guys can hear this because it's
especially
just
for
crazy.
our radio fans out there who are listening to the archive later tonight at 10 p.m.
So we're gonna run that video back one more time, and when we get back, we're gonna jump into shot for shot. The stat man will defend his title against the lovely Rose.
And for those of you watching on TV, Trip Young is not a Boston fan. If you caught us a little late, he's just wearing that Boston Red Sox hat because he lost shot for shot. But he will be judging today as I defend my crown against Rose.
And I do have a backup hat.
Oh boy.
Once we come back from this video break,
I like that.
I'm going to my
let
backup.
me be
We got
Trip
the
Young
Thriller
real
in
quick.
Manila in the background,
Let me be
ladies and
Trip Young
gentlemen.
real
By
quick.
the way, before
I
we
like
get to that
hat on you.
UFC.
See, you look so good in that hat,
Don't-
man.
oh,
that
man.
really brings out the best of you.
don't compliment me.
Entrou o golpe, vai acabar! Vai acabar! Chris Weidman vence o brasileiro! Chris Weidman vence o brasileiro!
Let's see it again. Boom! On the chin, caught him flat. Both legs parallel. And he has no idea what's going on.
Television, we have our little Spanish in there for our Hispanic audience out there. They got to hear the excitement in Spanish and then also got to hear it in English as well. Thankfully, Trip Young gets to take off that Boston Bum Sox hat and go back to Brooklyn
Back
with
to
the
my
Brooklyn
borough,
Nets.
Brooklyn, the A-team in New York, and this.
Where it
That
belongs.
felt good. It felt good to, it's just, I feel like I got a whole new energy, a whole new vibe about myself
like
now.
reborn or something.
Yeah,
right?
let's get into this shot for shot right now. 'Cause I'm ready. You guys ready?
I guess so.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. You
For
gotta
those-
get enthusiastic about this shot for shot.
For those of you that don't know, the way Shot for Shot works is we ask a series of 5 questions unless we go to overtime. Whoever the judge, who is Trip Young, wearing the referee uniform, whoever he agrees with gets the point. If we both agree, no points are awarded. 1 point per question. Once again, unless we go into overtime. So with that being said, I will gladly defend my crown against the lovely Rose Claire, and let's get it on.
All right. And Rose's first question is for you.
All right.
Andy Murray is still ranked at number 2 after beating the number 1 ranked Novak Djokovic. Should he have been the new number 1 after winning at Wimbledon?
The obvious answer right off the top of people's heads will probably be yes, he should be number 1. He was number 2. He beat number 1, therefore he should be number 1. But statistically, there's a lot more that goes into it. You have to factor in the whole year. You have to factor in what's been going on. He actually just missed the last French Open, which made him drop, and that's the reason that he dropped. And he also, as far as him and Djokovic goes, I think that it's reasonable that they do look at the wider picture there because Djokovic actually beats him in the 19 times they've met. Djokovic leads 11-8. They're very even as far as their Grand Slams. You have to remember that there are multiple Grand Slams in a year. It's not just like the NBA championships where it happens once a year. And, as far as they go, it was Djokovic won in 3 sets in the 2011 Australia Open. Then Murray won in 2012 U.S. Open. Then Djokovic won in the next Australia Open. And now, of course, Murray has won this Open, so the Wimbledon, sorry. So it's been very, very even matched, and one of them is better on the hard floor. One of them, obviously, Murray is better on the grass. Djokovic is better on the clay, and Djokovic also beats Murray on the hard courts as well. So he does have a little bit of a leg up, which is why I think that it is good that he's staying, and that Andy Murray is staying at number 2 right now. I don't think that he should have gone.
Statman.
I concur. No, like I said before, I think the only reason why Andy Murray beat him is because he was playing on his home turf. It was in Wimbledon, in front of his hometown. You have the grass factor as well, and it just doesn't. We had this question, a similar question before with Serena Williams, and we felt she should have been number 1. It took her a while to get number 1 after she went on that winning streak. This is it's. He won a major. He won it at home. I don't think you could beat Djokovic in other circumstances. So I do agree.
Yeah, and you guys got to realize that the rankings aren't just based on the Grand Slams. The ATP Tennis Tour goes on throughout the year. There's so many other tournaments, and Djokovic still made it to the finals. So it wasn't like he was one of those that got eliminated in the first round or something like that. He still made it to the finals. So he should be still ranked at number 1. But number 2, Statman, is going to you. Which returning Yankee will make the biggest impact on the team this season? Derek Jeter or Alex Rodriguez?
I got to go with Alex Rodriguez not doing the better job on the return. Throw a little curveball there. No, the captain. You got to go with the captain, Derek Jeter. A-Rod is just going through way too much drama off the field. And, Derek Jeter is loved by the fans. He's got that leadership quality as well, aside from his play on the field. So, Derek Jeter, hands down.
Yep, I concur as well. I was actually really shocked for a minute there, Statman. I was like, oh man, what did I miss? I was like, you're the Yankees fan. If you think Alex Rodriguez, something huge must have happened. But yeah, I agree. Derek Jeter, of course, the beloved by the fans, and Alex Rodriguez is not. Who even knows what's going on with him right now? Also, besides the obvious factors, there's also the fact that Derek Jeter is actually playing for AAA in Scranton, which is the next step up to the big leagues, so he'll even get there before Alex Rodriguez, who's just Class A right now, which is a few steps up, and he's been begging to get right back in there. So definitely Derek Jeter. He went 1 for 2 on Sunday, was scored off a home run, not too great, was 0 for 2 the day before that. So he's kind of he's still, even with the little progress, he's still doing better than Alex Rodriguez, who knows where he's going to be. So yeah, definitely concur.
I mean, if I wanted to go the route, I'd say Alex Rodriguez, has a lot of great seasons and then kind of disappears in the playoffs usually, and the question said season, but I'm not going to even think that either.
Look at you, thinking outside the box.
As always.
Rose, we're going back to you for number 3.
All right.
Can Josh Smith lead the Pistons back to the playoffs next season?
Yeah, I definitely think that he can. He's a great player. He's got tons of power, tons of skill, and he also, is going to be playing for a place, hopefully, that he'll want to be. Let's remember, we already said this, but he didn't want to be for the Hawks, and he still was a great player. So I think that now with what the Pistons have and what they've brought on, I think that they definitely can be a playoff contender. I mean, I feel that that's easy because, I mean, a playoff contender, you didn't say like the finals. That would be a different story. So yeah, sure, definitely.
Statman?
Yeah, I mean, it just means as long as they make an 8 seed,
right.
But we kind of touched on it earlier. I felt that there would be a 7th or an 8 seed, with the addition of Josh Smith, and I think he was a huge factor in why the Hawks made it. Definitely one of the better power forwards in the league. You combine that with Greg Monroe and the other pieces that they have over there in Detroit, I think that puts them back in the playoffs.
We got a lot of agreement going on today. Maybe we're
going
to change that.
Great minds think alike, I guess.
Now I'm going to throw you guys a curveball.
Oh no!
Because I'm switching up right now.
Oh.
Who will finish the season with more home runs? Chris Davis, who's at 33, or Bryce Harper, who's at 35? And that question goes to you, Statman.
Yep. I'm going to go with Bryce Harper because Chris, I mean, the American League pitching competition there, I'm trying to because this is a curveball and this isn't the question. So, Chris Davis actually passed Miguel Cabrera for All-Star votes to get the most votes there. I think he's on a hell of a hot streak right now. But I'm still going to go with Bryce Harper.
Yeah, actually, it's so funny because I hate to agree with you against that, man, but although that means that I'm not going to lose the point, which is always a good thing. But Bryce Harper, actually, he does have 2 more home runs, and actually, even before that, Chris Davis is on the record, or on on the road to making it to the record of home runs, but which was kind of more of the original question. But going to this question, Bryce Harper, actually, that's kind of what he's good for, is home runs, right? Like I was actually kind of surprised he made the All-Star team because he doesn't have that much else to offer. So I think that as far as the record goes, and as far as just who's going to get more home runs, then Bryce Harper, because Chris Davis is even a better all-around player. So I would go with that too. Sure.
And plus, Chris Davis is in the same division as the Yankees, so I gotta go. I gotta go against the Yankees in any way, shape, or form that I can. Then I can.
All right. Well, we're going to number 5, Rose. Which would be the better free agency move for the Knicks? Sign Elton Brand or re-sign Kenyon Martin?
Well, I am a huge Kenyon Martin fan, so obviously I have to go with him. I mean, besides the obvious, though, I say besides the obvious, but I guess you may not know the obvious. They're both over 34 years old and, kind of a little bit similar, but Kenyon Martin, he's already proven to be a good fit for the Knicks. Nobody knew where he was going to be before this season, and then he came out and really helped the team. He's got great strength. He's a warrior, he fights to the end, and I've always loved him as a player, so I was really happy to see him go to a New York team. So I would definitely say to keep Kenyon Martin. I hope they do. So.
Well, the thing is, Kenyon Martin is 2 years older, but no, I concur.
This is crazy.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth as far as them, him already proving himself over with the Knicks and making himself a good fit over there already. He also averaged, even though he's not really more of the scorer, Brand had more of a points per game earlier on in his career. But he averaged, Kenyon Martin averaged, I think, about 3 points per game more than Brand last season. And even though he's a couple of years older, he plays with a lot of intensity, and we saw that last year with the Knicks, and I think he's a good fit with the Knicks.
Okay. Now,
we have to go to question agreed on.
Exactly. Are you guys looking at each other's notes before it?
Well, we could restructure that 4th question.
Yeah, we're gonna go to overtime. I got a overtime question. My man, Mr. Salsa, Victor Cruz, has officially signed his new deal. He will be staying with the Giants. Shout out to Rock Nation and Jay-Z. 6 years, $48 million. Who got the better end of the deal, the Giants or Victor Cruz? And that question is going to you, Statman. Like how I looked over and said Statman, right? Swagged it out.
Yeah, we're all throwing curveballs all day. 6 years, $48 million. I think I got to go with the Giants because he's obviously, he had his share of drops, but he's a very good route runner. He's just going to get better as time progresses, and he already has a chemistry with Eli Manning, so I think that chemistry is just going to grow, and it's going to turn him into, if he's not already, one of the elite receivers in the league. I don't think he is yet, but I think he will be. Especially since he has an elite quarterback like Eli Manning, he'll definitely
you threw that one in there. I like that.
I got to. The football season's almost here. I got to go throw my elite Eli Manning out there a little bit more. We're not on the radio show, the live radio show, to play my sound bites, but got to go with that.
Every Sunday live at 7:30 p.m. on RealFansRealTalk.com. But Rose, who you got?
Oh man, I feel that they both made out really well. This is really tough. I'm trying to decide whether to just disagree with you, Statman, so that I can end this game already. But I don't know, because Victor.
It's not a game. This is real life. This is shot for shot. You got to wear team apparel of the team that you hate.
Okay.
I might have to wear a Red Sox hat for this.
I know. That's why I'm nervous about what you're going to pick, Trip, because he leads the Giants in catches for the past 2 years. He's had 19 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards. But then again, he was an unsigned he was an undrafted free agent not free agent, what's the word? He came in undrafted 3 years ago just out of Massachusetts. I was just looking to get on the team. He almost didn't make it, and now he's got $49 million in his pocket, no matter whether he gets an injury, no matter what happens to him. So yeah, sure, I think actually I am going to go with Victor Cruz making out better. I think they both made out wonderfully. But Victor Cruz definitely coming undrafted. That's like KJ Stroud, who's on this show. Like, he could, 3 years from now, he could have $49 million. And
I was just going to shout him out, too. That's the same thing's going to happen with KJ.
Yeah. So we're going to say Victor Cruz on that one, even though it is very close.
If he goes to the Giants and has an elite quarterback. Sorry, KJ.
He's on the Jets right now.
You know what, Rose?
I know, but
you tipped the scale bringing up KJ Stroud with that one. So I'm giving you the point and the win. Shout out to KJ Stroud, who was picked up by the Jets. He will be playing at wide receiver for the New York Jets this season. I know you don't have a quarterback just yet, KJ, but keep hope alive. Mark Sanchez will be out of there soon.
Maybe I'll come out of retirement and help them. But I can't play, I can't play for anyone but the Giants, and Eli Manning already got that covered, so,
Exactly. But again, shout out to Rose.
No.
And we're going to move along
defensive and offensive lineman.
Another segment we call This Day in Sports History. And basically, we list a couple of things that happened on this very date.
I think
that's not a quarterback helmet over there.
I forgot that was yours. I always wonder who the F Pelicans are or whatever. No.
Falcons.
Falcons.
Oh.
Okay, Pelicans.
We're going to have to put
F
you
stands for Falcons. You got to work on your math, your spelling.
It's not been
you should dye your hair blonde so that way the fans will understand a little bit more.
Yeah. But I'm going to start it off.
That was okay.
We
love you
finished
anyway,
Wimbledon in 1877. The first ever Wimbledon tennis championship is held.
All right, and this day in sports history, in 1963 and 1968, Willie Mays was named the All-Star Game MVP.
Willie Mays.
And this day in 1977, Mike Tyson was banned, right? Is that, yeah.
Banned.
Mike Tyson was banned from boxing for biting Holyfield's ear.
Yep. And they found
remember
another
fight.
piece of his ear just yet?
It was there. It was on the ring.
Okay, all right, they got it.
Yeah,
That's
they did
DNA.
that.
You know you can use DNA against you, right?
I think the the 75 different camera angles and the 30,000 people there.
I think he meant like for a baby mama type of thing. Like you just take that ear.
Okay.
But you can do the same
Well, he does have
hair,
9
so.
kids.
Yeah.
Holyfield, so
I'm just
so
saying.
they
you could
probably
pluck out
did
a
use
piece of
some
hair
DNA.
easier than-
Well, the saliva from the ear for Tyson.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
And
man.
actually, Kevin Nash, also known as Big Daddy Cool Diesel, it's his birthday today. So shout out to Kevin Nash. We definitely are wrestling fans on here. Myself and Statman took a road trip a couple of years back to WrestleMania. Reliving our youth, so to speak, in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. So happy birthday to Kevin Nash, and congratulations to Kevin Durant, who he just got engaged to his WNBA soon-to-be bride. Monica Wright, who is, I believe, 5'9".
So if they have kids,
5'9",
5'9", and he's 6'9".
if they have kids, are they drafted to the NBA at 1 years old?
Automatically.
Yeah.
Do they take that draft pick
Yeah.
She was
18 years in advance?
Yeah.
She was the number 2 pick back in 2010. So yeah, they're both. We all know Kevin Durant, but Monica Wright as well. And I also want to mention the movie Love and Basketball, which was so adorable. But she actually, the woman's name was Monica Wright in that. And he made a little reference to that a couple years ago on Twitter because they've kept their relationship really secret. I feel like
Kind of like me and Serena.
But he said that, just like
we set the tone
Serena,
for these.
same exact thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, so he made a little reference to Monica Wright, and everyone thought he was talking about the movie because he said Love and Basketball. But who knew he was talking about his own life? It's so cute.
Yeah, he was definitely. Jay-Z, former owner of the Nets, current owner of Rock Nation Sports.
He's a sports agent now.
He just recently released his new album, Magna Carta Holy Grail, which went platinum before it even came out, thanks to his deal with Samsung. He takes a shot at Scott Boras on this album, basically telling him to move over. There's a new sheriff in town. What do you guys think, really quick, because I know we're running low on time, is going to happen now that we have Jay-Z making these power moves? when in regards to these other agents, Drew Rosenthal, and how do you think this is gonna play out?
Well, it's really interesting, but a lot of people think that he's, because he's all, glam and like highlights and stuff like that, that I think that a lot of people think he's going to try to move everybody to New York, basically. Like maybe this is like a big plot to get everybody to the Nets.
KD might come to the Knicks.
But yeah, you never know. But I don't know. I'm actually a little bit confused because like Kevin Durant, it's really interesting thinking of him. He's with Jay-Z, and Kevin Durant, you see him in like every commercial out there. So I was thinking like how much more exposed could he be? And so everyone thinks more money, more commercials, small pajamas for Kevin Durant to wear, I guess. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. What do you think, Statman?
I think he's right. The same way that Michael Jordan came in the '92 Barcelona Olympics and went over to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird sitting on the bench and said, "There's a new sheriff in town," and then left the room and they were laughing and they said, "You know what? He's right." And I think Scott Boras realized, and the rest of them realized that Jay-Z's right in this case too, because he's an icon. Every single athlete knows him. Everyone knows that he has a great business sense. He has the clothing line, the vodka, the record label goes.
He was with the Nets, yeah. He
had
the Nets.
Had a portion of the Nets in the beginning. And he's going to get more advertising than, no matter how shrewd of a negotiators these other guys are, people know that they're going to end up making more money with Jay-Z on their side.
Exactly. And he's starting off with the big names, with these guys, Durant, Kanoe. He has some of the best players in these sports, and it's just going to continue to happen because these players are so influenced by the hip-hop generation, and Jay-Z is hip-hop, and he's been so consistent for so long. Somebody who's worth close to $500 million right now, and he's not gonna stop, and he's gonna get the best for his clients. So these other agents, they better watch out. Quickly, fan mail question. Clifford from Brooklyn writes, "What should the Rockets do with Omar Asik now that he has requested to be traded?"
I don't know who they're going to trade, what they're going to package, but if he's demanding a trade and he doesn't want to play for your team, I would figure they trade him for whatever they could get for him. I mean,
Rose?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Whatever they can get for him, I honestly.
When a player doesn't want to play for you, it's I mean, it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes the players are obviously just forced to play for wherever they play. But at the same time, it's just better to not have to deal with that drama in that case. So
shout out to Clifford, shout out to Brooklyn, and shout out to Bruce from Atlanta who wrote in, which team would be the better fit for Andrew Bynum, Dallas or Cleveland? We got into that earlier statement. You said Dallas. Myself and Rose said Cleveland, but I
think right now though it would be Cleveland, but I just think future references it will be Dallas will have the better team on paper.
With that being said, that's going to be our time for today. Make sure you guys check us out on the web, realfansrealtalk.com, facebook.com/realfansrealtalk, Twitter @realfantalk. If you go on the website, you can get our individual Twitter handles. And, of course, we air on the radio live Sunday, 7:30 p.m. For myself, Trip Young, Mark the Statman Skevich, and the lovely Rose Claire. We will see you guys right back here next week, same time, same channel.
Oh, and I don't have to wear a bad shirt next week. You do. Yay. Bye, guys.
I might do like you and disappear for a couple months. Maybe you guys will forget about it.
Intern time for the white and black fans. Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro Mark the Stats Man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. RealFansRealTalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers. Is Jeremy Lin hurt? We'll log onto the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest. I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives. Even tell a neighbor. Tell them Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter, tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified co-sign. You know what I'm about, son. RealFansRealTalk.com. I'm out, what? Real fans, real talk. Real fans, real talk. RealFansRealTalk.com. RealFansRealTalk.com. Real fans, real talk. Real fans, real talk. RealFansRealTalk.com. RealFansRealTalk.com.